This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Tuesday, the 29th of October, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. The Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, GOPIO, is appealing to the National Council for Indian Culture, the NCIC, to rescind its invitation to Acting Prime Minister Stuart Young to speak at the closing night of Diwali Nagar tomorrow, Wednesday. In defending its call, GOPIO says Minister Young has offended Hindu women with his recent salacious comment toward opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC, during the budget debate, and is unworthy of speaking at a religious event of the stature of Diwali Nagar. In a letter sent to NCIC President Dirup Timal yesterday, GOPIO asked that the council be the defender of Dharma, right behavior and social order, and reject Young, who claims to have shown Ravanak behavior toward all women in this country. TTT Limited explains there was a disruption to its live broadcast on October 26th at this year's Diwali Nagar celebration during the address of Leader of the Opposition, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Its ICT team began troubleshooting, and it identified within the streaming system an internet connection was inactive. Further investigations identified that an autonomous automatic update occurred during the broadcast, which resulted in the connection failure. To rectify the issue, the system was rolled back to its previous operational state. This successfully restored network functionality, allowing the station to reconnect the stream. The Tobago October Carnival Association describes as unfortunate the setting of fire to a carnival band trailer belonging to Tobago Limers. The detail of the incident is still coming to hand. However, President of the association, Dexter Sandy, speaking with the media on Monday, said he's hoping whoever responsible for the incident will be brought to justice. Education Minister Dr. Nian Gaspidoli says a video circulating on social media, which shows two parents engaged in a brawl outside the Cedra Secondary School, escalated from a parents' conference to deal with an issue between two students. Dr. Gaspidoli said the principal had been advised to report the matter to the police. In the video, the two females are seen fighting, one armed with a cutlass. One child can be heard begging her mother to stop, while a maid adult tries to separate the two. The 41-second video ends with one woman grabbing the other's hair while fighting for possession of the cutlass. Gaspidoli said, "It's beyond tragic that a parent conference call to deal with an issue between schoolmates can end like this." She added, "Parents must, despite the challenges, set the examples for our children to follow." She said parents must find more progressive ways to deal with issues, or else we leave little hope for our children. Police have identified suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabir and are working to locate them. Mahabir is stated to be in stable condition, showing signs of improvement, but still warded at hospital as she continues to recover from gunshot wounds to her head, hand, and torso. Mahabir, 30, was shot outside her Caroni home on October 22nd during a botched robbery. She just returned to Trinidad and Tobago from performing abroad with the Trinidad Tobago Police Band. Early reports suggest the bandits first saw her when she stopped to buy something to eat, having left the Piaco International Airport. A police source indicated the bandits have committed other robberies that night, targeting Mahabir for her car as they wanted to switch vehicles to escape possible detection by police. They followed her home and tried to rob her, but panicked and shot her during the attempted robbery. The whereabouts of Canopia businessman Suresh Ramnaran remains unknown 2 weeks after he was bundled into a black SUV by men posing as police officers. Ramnaran, 33, was lying at a bar on the Southern Main Road in Canopia on October 12th when he's confronted by 5 men dressed in police gear. The men led him out of the bar with guns in hand to a black Hyundai Tucson motorcar. Relatives were later contacted by men claiming to be kidnappers who demanded a $3 million ransom. Police could not confirm whether or not a ransom was paid. In news of the region, the government of Antigua and Barbuda will host the 2026 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in the city of St. John's. The decision made during the executive session of the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting being held in Apia, Samoa. The 2026 Chogam in St. John's will be a remarkable occasion for Antigua and Barbuda to showcase the island's unique culture, warm hospitality, and a progressive vision. Finally, air quality in India's capital, Delhi, has deteriorated to severe and extremely poor levels in the past few days. pollution has crossed 25 to 30 times the World Health Organization's recommended safe limit at several locations in the city as at last week. Experts have warned that the situation will worsen in the coming days due to weather conditions, the use of firecrackers during the festival of Diwali on Thursday, and the burning of crops remaining in neighboring states. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Good morning, neighbors. Good Tuesday morning, neighbors. It is the 29th day of October. It is indeed. You know what that means? Yeah. It is 57 days to Christmas. 1 week again for the U.S. elections. Boy, I tell you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. It's all about the R's. Dr. Paul Richards, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shane in the mix. And of course, my name is Steve Card. Quickly, traffic-wise, usual stuff. No incidents to tell you about. And of course, it is 27 degrees at Piarco International Airport. Same at Crown Point in Tobago. The Met Office is saying today is going to be mostly sunny and at times breezy conditions. And of course, it will be interrupted by the occasional shower in a few areas. There's a low to medium chance, 30 to 40% chance of a heavy shower or thunderstorm during the afternoon. All right. That's your weather and traffic. Let me say good morning going on to Dr. Paul Richards.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
What's going on? It's Tuesday.
Good morning to Cedrus.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, Cedrus. Yeah. Good morning. I don't know, I really don't know. We have to set an example, but oh my God.
Morning to the parents of Cedrus Secondary School.
Yeah.
Most of the parents are well behaved.
Right. This one pull out a cutlass. Another gentleman coming with a car jack. Luckily, 2 students got involved and stopped him.
Congratulations to Marshall Montano and all the students of University of Trinidad and Tobago. Marshall graduated yesterday with his master's in carnival studies, I think it is. And performed at the graduation, of course, as one would expect. Family, Family,
With the diploma.
He started his academic journey and he completed it successfully. As one would expect, he'd have a lot of practical experience. I mean, he spent his whole life on stage, literally his whole life on stage.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he had a lot to draw on. I think he's prepping for a life in politics. You never know.
Well.
Yeah, think about it. Probably make a decent Minister of Culture and the Arts.
Yeah. / tourism somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
I think he's what? Is he 50 yet?
I think he is.
Could be. Or close to it. So, congrats to all the students. Of course, UE graduation is yesterday. UTT, this is his graduation season. So, yep. What else is happening? Well, I see the news is in
49 actually.
Sorry?
He's 49. He's 24th of 74
next year. The police are reporting 2 breakthroughs. They say they've identified the suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabir, and they're working out to with them. In other words, we know who you are.
Well done, TTPS.
They say so. They said so. The report says so. The WPC is in stable condition and showing gradual but steady improvement, which is great. The police have now indicated that the bandits had committed other robberies that night and targeted Mahabir for her car, which they wanted to switch vehicles to escape detection by police, which is something they often do. I saw a video circulating
The white shoot.
yesterday. What?
Why have to shoot the girl?
Because they're criminals, Steve.
I know, but still.
And I saw a video being circulated. I don't know how about the authenticity of it, that says that the car that was used in the black car that rolled down the street was being used in other crimes subsequent to the shooting of WPC Mahabir. So that they had the license plate and video and pictures of the car being circulated. So we hope police are able to make some arrests soon in that situation, because that's really a horrible situation, like every other murder and attempted murder. Unfortunately, the news is not as good for Suvish Ramnaran, who is a 33-year-old businessman who was taken 2 weeks ago.
Has not been found.
Which we shared. No sign of him at all. Police could not confirm whether a ransom was paid. A $3 million ransom was demanded. And I don't know. I could just imagine the poor family of that young man.
Yeah, boy. Oh, geez. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you guys.
Police said there are no fresh leads in that kidnapping. I mean,
No fresh leads. Look at that.
but as Jack Warner said yesterday, we've spoken about the importance of the RF license plates and the ability to track cars and track them down as you see them, because there's an RFID chip in all the license plates. But no progress made, no progress made at all. I think the licensing division is due to roll out some innovation in licensing or license plates soon. My understanding behind the scenes that they're due to roll out some new innovation, some new technology related to license plates and how license plates are able to help in the fight against crime as they are in other jurisdictions. So we'll see. I mean, talk about this for some decades now. So
yeah, I'll see if I can get the transport commissioner online. Just to clarify.
I'll not be on tomorrow morning.
You what, sorry?
I may not be on tomorrow morning for long. Let me put it that way.
Why? Public wants to know. Why?
I don't feel to be. Because I don't feel to be.
And citizens that are listening, is that acceptable? Is that an acceptable excuse?
Well, yesterday is yesterday, and today. Yesterday is yesterday, Jack Warner, and today is today. So what you worried about? Don't worry about what I say yesterday. Don't worry about what I say today. So forget everything I say yesterday.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, forget what I say today. Because none of it is really valid past 24 hours. So what yesterday is yesterday. So today is today.
Today is today.
So you can forget everything Jack Warner said yesterday now, based on his philosophy. Politicians. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I'm going to play a video.
Oh, no.
That speaks to why we have problems in this country. That is at the heart, the literal heart of why we're going through what we're going through in this country. I listened and I didn't hear any obscenities, but if there are obscenities, I apologize. I listened twice and I didn't hear any obscenities.
No.
Right?
I didn't hear it. I got cut last in the right hand of ladies' hand there. That is why the school system
You shall behave yourself, girl.
I mean, what's the man with the cat? What you come to do? And two students, kudos to you all.
No. Your child is there begging you to stop, to behave. Your child has to tell you to conduct yourself in a proper manner. This is in full view of the students, right outside the Cedar Secondary School. This is after a student conference to talk about an issue with two students, presumably the children of these parents. Now, with mothers like that, what can you expect of those students? If that is the example these mothers are setting for their children and other children, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
If this is how you choose to conduct yourself in front of a school that your child is attending, what can I say about you after that?
Well, I do.
And when your child decides to act out like that, what are you going to tell your child? What are you going to tell your child? Tell me, what are you going to tell? What you could tell your child? What can you tell your child? Is there a charge of causing up that woman brandishing that cutlass? I'm sure there's a charge for that.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there's a charge that couldn't be applied there.
And I would assume that the TDPS is investigating.
I'm sure there are charges that can apply to both of them. Look at your condition. You're feeling proud of yourself this morning. The whole country see you're getting on like, I don't even want to call it, say it.
I don't even want to say it.
And then this idiot with his jack come to jump in, who had to be restrained by two students, minors.
Students. I don't know.
I wanted to go to them proud of themselves this morning when they're making breakfast to send the children to school.
Mm-hmm.
Behave yourself at school today, darling. Make mommy proud. Mommy didn't make you proud, though.
You know how much people have a cutlass in their car? For what?
So you went to this student conference and you work with a cutlass just in case the student conference didn't go?
Mm-hmm.
And David Wares, you're right. When nothing happens and there's no consequence to that kind of behavior from parents, it continues. You're absolutely right, David Wares. Because nothing will happen. And I don't know that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service would let this slide. You are waving around a cutlass in the presence of minors.
Mm-hmm. There's a bottle in her left hand, eh?
Well, the bottle ended up scattering too.
Mm-hmm. You heard it break. Well done, parents. Well done, mothers.
Mothers of the year. Really. And you have secondary age children, not having primary age children that make a difference.
Pre-adults.
And they should arrest he too.
Yeah,
you want to hit somebody with a jack? That's what you were going to do?
But you know, a chop happens. The jack hits somebody in blood. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
Rena, I can't say it, but you said it, yes. You actually said the right
You want me to say it? I will say it to them.
And here the child is bawling, mommy, mommy.
Yeah.
She can't chop on the head, boy.
Yes, come on. The one in brown should be seriously charged.
Both of them, Steve. Both of them. One in no different than the next one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, Richard is not on yet.
She can't chop on the head, boy.
Probably looking for phones a bit more.
Yeah, load that volume
But
a
the
bit.
audience is down to these parents. Phone lines are
Yeah, load the volume in that call. Didn't hear anything you said there at all. Right. Okay. Now
I
I'll
said,
be
let's
clear.
open the lines and
Yeah, we
see
could open up the lines.
for the audience
222-8255, toll
what
free
happened to
North
these
Americans,
parents. What should happen to these parents?
525-1099. Yeah, what should happen to these parents?
What should the state of Trinidad and Tobago do to these parents?
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone knows what charges could be proffered here, let us know, please. Because this is such a disgusting display.
We have a call here. Let's go. Oopsie daisy. All right. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Morning, Orlando. Go ahead.
Listen, you know, I'm watching this thing here, and then from what I'm hearing from yesterday when I saw this, there's another angle too that you got to look at. That people are fed up of their kids getting bullied, and authorities are not taking action. So people are taking it into their own hands now, and that's another thing you can't ignore.
And
It's
that
sad to
and,
see
and,
that parents are coming to this extent. But I think the system or the authorities have to be blamed as well. This should have never happened.
yeah.
Remember last week you were showing the part with the little boy walking away from school, and next one just came at something and like it's some big brawl fight or something, attack a guy like that. That's prison here in the U.S. In the U.S., that's prison. I don't care how old they are. They go to prison for that. Anyway, gentlemen, have a good morning. And I'm going back out to work from tomorrow.
Same
Thank
to you.
God. All right, guys. Have a good morning.
Have a good day.
All right. So 222-8255, toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. We're taking some of your calls. Somebody said Daniel Knight is saying brandishing a concealed weapon in public is one charge.
But the weapon is not concealed, but there's clearly
Not
intent to
concealed.
cause bodily harm.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of messages coming through. It is sad. You're right, GNC Auto Security. That is sad. Good morning to Anthony in Toronto. Good morning.
I just don't know what to say.
Yeah. I really don't know. Good morning to Chris Tousse back in Washington, D.C. Good morning to you.
The other news this morning is that GOPIO, the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, is appealing to the National Council for Indian Culture, who are the hosts of Diwali Nagar, to rescind the invitation of acting Prime Minister Stuart Young to speak at the closing night of Diwali Nagar tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah, tomorrow's the last night for the Nagar.
It said Minister Young offended Hindu women with his recent comments toward the leader of the opposition, Kamala Prasad Bisesa SC, during the budget debate, and as such is unworthy of speaking at a religious event like Diwali Nagar. It called on NCIC President Dilip Timal to be defender of Dharma, which is the right behavior and social order, and rescind Minister Young's invitation to speak at Diwali Nagar closing. Of course, Minister Young is acting Prime Minister. He's attending as the acting Prime Minister, which is a normal tradition that the acting Prime Minister or the Prime Minister will attend
Prime Minister,
the Diwali Nagar and usually give a presentation, a speech. So what do you all think? Minister Young has apologized both outside and inside the parliament for his comments, which were caught by quote unquote a hot mic.
Mm-hmm.
And the fallout seemingly continues. Do you think it's a dead issue, or do you think NCIC should rescind the invitation as is being requested by GoPio? You know? And the TTT, speaking of Diwali Nagar, has offered an explanation and an apology for the address of Mrs. Prasad Bissessa being not being broadcast. They said investigations identified that an autonomous automatic update occurred during the broadcast, which resulted in connection failure.
They said what?
Oh God!
An update?
Curious coincidence.
I was going to ask you if you want to update first.
For an update. No. Sometimes it's things called automatic updates. It just happened to curiously occur while Mrs. Prasad, not during a speech, just about to speak and close to the end or at the end, you know. Good morning, Ragoobarsingh.
Do you buy that?
Good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners and viewers wherever you are.
Why you take off your camera, Ragoobarsingh? Right, it's back on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I buy the TTC's explanation,
Mm-hmm.
I have no reason to doubt it. I just find it curious of the timing of it.
Yeah.
You know, those things do happen, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they happen. But shit.
They do happen.
Yeah, I'm not saying. And that's why I said I have no reason to doubt it. That's the first thing I said.
Well, I say those things do happen, man. Sometimes they happen.
The automatic update just
at the exact time that it should not happen, it happens.
It never automatically updates when Dr. Rowley is speaking during the PNM meetings. It never automatically happen when they have the post cabinet press briefing. It just happened to happen when Mrs. Prasad Bissessa is.
Well, that's just snarkiness. But sometimes things like that can happen in inopportune moments, and you're like, "Oh my God, how is this?"
That's the word, Richard. Inopportune.
How is this going to look? Does it look like X, Y, and Z? And so it does happen.
It just happened to be stated.
What I would look at is consistency of it happening. So if it
that's what I was speaking to just now. That's what I said. It never happened.
So I'm saying if it happens,
it never chose to automatically update during any of the PNM meetings that were broadcast. So it never happened to.
But I'm saying if it consistently happens every time that particular.
Well, I'm sure it won't happen again during.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it consistently happens, then it's a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happens at one occasion, then and they're saying, well, look, it was a technical glitch.
But to be fair, there was a situation a couple of months ago where a post cab or some broadcast involving the Prime Minister went dark. Remember that?
Yes.
And he didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, the room went dark. Yeah.
But I don't think the broadcast went up. I think the room went dark. There was a power situation in the room. So yes, things happened. Things happened.
Technical things can happen.
Oh yes. Richard, did you see this?
I know it was sent in the group. I didn't watch it. Because at the point that it came in the group, I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to watch anything negative and silly about grown adults in Trinidad and Tobago today, who have choices in how they act.
I think they should be very proud of themselves this morning.
I just didn't watch it. I saw that it came
in front of children.
I'm not watching that today. These are grown women with choices.
Grown women with their children present. Yes. And then add this idiot to the equation with a jack in his hand in front of the school where scores of children can see your behavior.
Mhm.
So
Well, it wasn't the scores
this
of
morning
children
in
there
class,
for
the
the
subject
favor.
would not be physics and chemistry and math and English and literature. It will be girl, your mother get on bad yesterday, boy. That's what it will be. Well, your mother real get on bad yesterday. I mean, I don't know. There must be some. What charge can be proffered
What
from
charge there? What charge is there, Rich?
Ask the police. Don't ask me.
You
I'm not in
retired.
that
You give
mood
no
to
advice again
entertain
at all.
this silliness. I'm
Boy.
not going to entertain this silliness. Let the police decide.
And they went. The ironic thing is they went to a conference, a parent conference, to resolve an issue. And this is how the parent conference ended up. This is the end product of the parent conference. So what I keep saying sometimes, that not all families have the same moral code of conduct. That's what I mean.
Mhm.
The same as the parents. Some parents, if that's how you get on in public, you can imagine what happening in private. You can imagine the example you're setting for your children in private. If you could carry on like that in full view in front of the school of other students and your own children, that's what I mean by that. There's no universal parenting code now. Different strokes to different folks. They should both be banned from coming within a certain distance from the school. At the worst case. All right. Enough of them. Highly depressing to watch. Highly depressing. So how's retirement treating you?
Well, I didn't even reach to that point of even, as I said before, of even looking at it. I was just like, no, you know what? These are two grown adults who made the choice to do what they do. I'm not giving them the benefit of me watching this. But the rest of Trinidad and make that viral, not me. You know, it's silliness. And what kind of mediation happened in the school?
But if that is the outcome of the parent
Obviously,
conference,
the mediation wasn't successful.
mm-hmm.
So what's the skill set of the mediator? Whoever the mediator was it the principal? I don't know. Was it a teacher? I don't know. Was it a professional mediator? Probably doubtful. I don't know. A lot of unknowns in this entire scenario. But the U.S. elections is ramping up.
Oh yes.
As it heads towards its fine. Is this the final week?
Yeah, I think they have the fifth.
This is the final week, yes, because next week
Final
Monday.
7 days.
It's on a Monday or Tuesday. When is it? Is the election the 4th?
It's the 5th.
It's the 5th.
Yes.
It's a Tuesday or Monday. I'm not sure.
It is a Tuesday. Super Tuesday is called it. Not so. Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. Okay.
I'm sure by now you would have seen the reprehensible, disgusting comments of the warm-up speaker at a Trump rally in Madison Square Garden.
With the island of rubbish.
The island of rubbish.
You know, Michelle Obama would have spoke over the weekend, and of course she was excellent. I mean, some people are saying she's even better than Barack in this version of the U.S. elections. For some people, she's even better than him in how she is hitting the points. And one of the points she's made is, how could it be close? Why is it even close? And for a lot of Trinidadians and Tobagonians, I also think that's a sentiment. It's like, why is this even close?
Because you're saying people say that because they have a particular ideology that aligns with one or the other sides. And if you understand some of American society's psyche, and the fact that despite all Donald Trump has shown who he is and continues to be and will be into the future, they have an alignment with that philosophy themselves. And that's why it's close. And that's why America is divided in that way. So if you think, well, everybody's supposed to hate Donald Trump, That's why you will have that mentality. But if you understand that there's a huge swath, 70, 80 million people who will vote for him again, who share his ideology and his philosophies, then you'd understand why it's so close.
I don't understand why it's so close.
Yeah, because you think Donald Trump
this
is
is not
shooting years and people should reject him.
The American politics has been divided ideologically for a while. He's not a George Bush, senior or junior, where you would have said, okay, it could be close. I'm just saying, it could be close and you will know, okay, they're Republicans. It's not even that. He's a different version of a human being. And I think that's why for a lot of people, it's not just about you representing the Republican Party.
And he's a different version of human that some people have no problem with. Clearly.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what's astonishing. That why people will say, why is it so close? And that they would say in this particular election,
because they align themselves with that type of thinking and they don't find it offensive.
But Paul, you're not making my point. You're understanding my point. In a George Bush situation, people would not have said, if it was close, people are not going to say why it's so close.
I think the other aspect of it, Richard, too, and both Barack and Michelle Obama spoke to it, and they both spoke to it in terms of, let's look at the presumed Democratic or independent side, right? The swing votes. That for some reason, Kamala Harris has not been able to ignite their energies in the way Barack Obama would have been able to do, or Joe Biden at some level for some reason. Because if she was able to, both Barack and Michelle Obama wouldn't have had to come out in the last couple of weeks chiding particularly black male voters and in some instances white male voters about their lack of support or lack of enthusiasm for Kamala Harris. I think that's the other component there. Because if both Barack and Michelle had to come and say, why you're not protecting your sisters, it is an implication that the demographic, the pre-polling that they're doing is not seeing the kind of support from those black male voters and in some instances, white male voters. There is a disconnect for some reason with her and those voters that normally, under these circumstances, with someone as, to me, offensive as Donald Trump, and I'm stressing to me because there's some people to which he's not offensive. Yesterday, the Trump administration tried to disavow and distance themselves from the comments of this supposed comedian about Puerto Rico being a floating thing of rubbish. And Trump himself has not come out and done it.
Oh, he said other things, you know?
Yeah.
Spoke about Latinos.
So it speaks to a large voting bloc that don't find Trump that offensive. And it speaks to a lack, because when Obama ran, there was a groundswell of independent support for something new, which is absent here. And yesterday, Wendell and I were speaking about it, and we were wondering if it's a gender thing in the US, because they've never elected a female president.
Gender, of course, plays a part in it.
Yeah.
Of course, it plays a part.
So the mere fact that she's female, there's some thought process that, well, females shouldn't run the US, or this particular female shouldn't run the US. Anyway, open the phone lines, please, Steve. Good morning.
But women had to fight for a right to vote. And the whole suffragettes movement in the United States.
So it'll be interesting.
Women didn't always have the right to vote.
Yeah. Next Tuesday is going to be very interesting. Let me just say that.
I mean, for the entire world.
Of course, the world is on edge. This man could be possibly
7 days
running the US again. Imagine we are here again. That this individual, who I certainly find an offensive potential president, who's shown who he is before, during, and after the presidency, is actually on the verge of sitting in that Oval Office again, or potentially. It's this world, let me tell you. Good morning, America.
Let's grab some calls. Good morning, caller.
Yes, morning, Mr. Steve.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Richard Ragoobarsingh and Paul Richard. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
You see, we a lot of people fail to realize everybody have choice. And everybody have a choice to choose who they like. Everybody have a moral value where they operate and live by. So nothing that surprise me again outside here who choose who. You understand? And that's what the problem is. As I said yesterday, some people believe some people have a right to choose this one above that one. Choice. That's the big factor, everything, you know. And all these moral values and things some people just hold on to. Sometimes that does be conveniently. They all go outside here, you know. I know the ladies and them who fighting in school. It's this thing called anger issue and conflict resolution and kind of thing. A lot of people don't have that, you know. People can't control the anger. This lady could end up with 3 charges. A weapon charge, attempted murder charge, and an assault charge. You understand? So I don't know what some people head us be sometimes, you know. I don't know what some people head us be.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Mi amor, how are you going?
Buenos días, mi amor. Soy muy bueno. ¿Y tú?
Sí.
Me gusta mucho su... Let's say that.
That part there, I can't remember what he.
Corazón.
All right, don't overdo it now.
You say you want to love up your heart.
That is for Yasina.
No.
Listen. You know, when I saw that video with the 2 women fighting, a calypso came to mind. We saw Gardy gods. And come like the I don't know what the parents who guarding the children. There's something wrong with in Trinidad and Tobago, you know. I think they have to rent out a helicopter and get some kind of sort of holy water or something to sprinkle over this. Just like how they just go and spray the crops for thing when it's harvest time. That needs something here. Not to sprinkle it all corners of the Trinidad and Tobago. Anyhow, this American election here, oh God, it burning my out. Going to bed too late. But it's so interesting. And I like this slant earlier on this morning, and I believe that is the main worry for Donald Trump. That a black woman will beat here at the polls. I don't know, like he can't live it down, and like he going crazy now. Because, and I see they reached to what that last, the last campaign he had. Well, I wouldn't say last, but last night before. I think it was an all-time low. Like it was just a passion program and a passion program. It did him no good. He attacked the blacks, the Jews, the Latinos, and then the comedian come and talk about the island of rubbish. I think that one hit the fan.
I think they knew exactly what they wanted the message they wanted to send, and they used the so-called comedian to send the message.
Yeah, well, that's it. But I don't think that it because I saw the interview, 1 or 2 people, and it had a very old woman, a Latina, and she said she wasn't bothering to go nowhere. But when she heard that one, she from Puerto Rico.
Well, it's that Pennsylvania has a large Puerto Rican population. That's why the Trump administration
She is going to vote. That made her come out to vote against that man. She said it has to stop. Yeah, but you realize that they start to burn up places now.
I finished a buljol this morning. You have any buljol home there?
Yeah. All right.
I always have that.
Okay, you have bake?
And oh yes.
You have fried bake too?
Coconut bake.
Nice.
You understand?
You grated down nice?
Always. And the
Good.
saltfish always have just the right amount of salt.
Oh, yes. I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
And a
Gentlemen,
little grey pepper, too.
gentlemen.
Sorry, black pepper. Have a good day.
Bye, Paul.
Ragoobarsingh, you have newspapers?
No, I don't have this newspapers this morning.
6:45. Let's start with the newspaper.
Yeah,
I have two
we got
potential
it.
questions. One, should the NCIC rescind acting Prime Minister Stuart Young's invitation to speak at the closing of Diwali Nagar, as is being requested by Gopio? Or two, should charges be laid against the two mothers fighting outside the school? If you have another one, I'd be happy to hear it. Let's roll to the Express this morning.
I have the Guardian, huh?
All right, so let's start with the Express. Call to IMF for Forex answers. A local businessman has written to the International Monetary Fund calling on the body to intervene in TNT's Forex exchange. How the IMF could intervene in that? TTT sorry over Campbell disrupted speech. Potholes for miles. Paid 20,000. Businessman reports extortion. UTT honors 5 as Marshall graduates. Uncle detained for rape of infant nephew. Man collects 10,800 susu and bandits arrive. And women fight with cutlass outside Cedrus School. Today,
Over the Guardian.
thank you.
Okay. Of course, today is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. And the main headline that the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian went with this morning is Stuart not welcome. Gopio wants Young's Nagar in closing invite withdrawn over offensive comments. So I know that was the lead story, I think, in a lot of the news last night, that they want that invitation withdrawn because of the comments he made on that open mic. So Gopio wants Young's Nagar closing invite withdrawn over offensive comments. UNC refuses to accept TTT apology for Kamla blackout, and ex-Petrogen workers in dark over pensions. All of that is on the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian this morning. Moving along to the back page, which of course is the sports stories. Let me just get that back page. Red Force starts title defense is the headline. Of course, the main pictures of Barcelona's Spanish player Aitana Bonmati left, and Manchester City's Spanish player Rodriguez, the 2024 Ballon d'Or trophies during the 68th Golden Ball Awards ceremony. So that's the main picture, and that's the main headline. Over to you, Paul.
Let's move to the Newsday now. Parents fight outside Cedrus School. Minister laments tragic example. TNTech denies OWTU's accusation of bullying workers. MP Saddam Hussein, PNM never paid for 6 broadcasts on TTT. Suspects identified in policewoman's shooting. 2 Moruga men granted bail in shooting case. Relatives of slain Marcus Garvey was wrong target. Young, government pursuit of oil polluters is the right thing to do. And DCP admits to giving flawed advice in ASP promotion exercise. Dino Brega, TTC to review operations after Kamla glitch. So those are trending stories in your 3 major dailies this morning, the Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Tuesday, the 29th of October, 2024.
All right, well, let's get the results of our morning poll where we asked you yesterday, do you think the PNM will be led into the 2025 general elections by a new leader? The results are in. 60%, 60, said no.
All right, which question do you prefer, the Stuart Young question or the parent being charged question?
Both Both are relevant, I guess. A lot of people have seen those two parents fighting. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's all, if you want, one is political, one is social, I guess. You want to call it that. So you choose. Either one is fine. I mean, you could do whatever you do today, you could do the other one tomorrow. But both would still be both would still be relevant tomorrow. Because Nagar closes on what, the 30th?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I'll do the parents.
Tomorrow is when it closes.
Yeah, because Diwali is on Thursday, so the Nagar will close tomorrow.
I always want to go to Nagar and I could never reach.
You should go. It's really good.
It's just the traffic is horrendous.
I heard it's really good. People I've spoken to say it's really, something to see and experience. Traffic is also off-putting a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right. Our poll this morning: should the parents fighting outside the Cedra's second? Oh God, and Cedra's such a quiet little, pretty coastal town. And that's where I went. They're going to fight in Cedra's.
Yeah. Should the parents be charged? That's our poll. 222-8255. Toll-free North Americans. 866-525-1099. Should the parents seen fighting outside the Cedars Secondary School be charged?
I mean, I'm sure there's some charges that are applicable there.
No.
You can't be swinging around a cutlass with children next by and threatening each other violently with cutlass and bottle and thing and something. No charge will be applicable. So the poll is open. Go ahead, please. Your quarters and your.
Yeah, so 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. Absolutely toll-free. People are on the streaming platform. Send your votes via the messaging portals there. And you can WhatsApp us at 318-102. Good morning.
Good morning, honey. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, my love. Good. Morning all. Steve, what about the video? What about the video that I shared with you yesterday? You didn't choose to play that one instead this morning?
Which video is that again?
The one where the students were so appreciative of the teacher and they nominated him and all the different things they did for him. That is very positive as well. You remember it?
No.
Steve, my pressure.
Let me tell you, I am getting so tired of WhatsApp and the nonsense that people, not you, that people send that I didn't. If it goes off, I don't check it immediately.
Oh, well, it was very, very inspirational. But my answer is yes, and it was a very inspirational poll that everyone would have appreciated this morning.
All right. Thank you.
All right, love. Bye, Rich.
Bye. Bye. Roger Seawing says yes. Eddie out in Staten Island, New York says yes. I have somebody else saying yes, didn't put a name to it. Right. Let's see. Okay, I'm going up. So Mogain says hell yes. Michael Robinson says yes. Anthony Franco says yes. Rena Budu Jennings says yes. Richard P. Knight says yes. Anthony Tinto, I didn't get that message. Boswell John says yes. Donna Clark says yes. Gregory Bauer, yes. Wayne Bennett, yes. Cheryl Henry, 100% yes. Anthony Tinto says yes. Pearl Cordes says yes. Julia S. Batiste says yes. Okay. CJ New York says yes. Gloria Gray says yes. Ben J. Singh, yes. Rapid Fire says yes. Ray Garcia, yes. Beefy Smith out in Goodwood, Tobago. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you overcome your carnival to banker. Says yes. Michael Gradison says yes.
Yes, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't pointing at someone equatable to an assault in some circumstances?
Threat, so it has to be followed with a threat.
Yeah,
I point at you and say, hey, there goes the senator. That's not an assault.
But then I agree with Michael Grandison that the man with the jack should fall in the fray too.
Yeah. Clem says yes.
It's obviously, Cedars is obviously a small community. So I don't know if there is a value to sending them before the court system or the police becoming more of an intermediary in de-escalating the situation. Aka community policing.
Someone says definitely yes. Carl M. Jack says yes. Vincent in the UK says yes. Captain Ron in Orlando says hell yes.
I mean, the value is at the risk of contaminating the poll, which I don't want to do, setting an example that this behavior is unacceptable.
Yeah. Candace says yes. Slick Money Grip says yes. What says you, caller?
I say yes, especially the cutlass woman.
All right. Thank you. Michael Oliver says yes. Should the parents seen fighting outside the Cedar Secondary School be charged? Of course, the video is playing right now, so you can watch it. Should they be charged? Yes or no? Kudos to the two students who intervened and held back the man, not the young man, but the man with the car jack. Don't know what he was going to do. Slick Money Grip says yes. Michael Oliver says yes. CPD Singh says no. Josie Richardson says yes. All right, 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. All right. That's our poll. Of course, we'll stay up until tomorrow morning when we give you the final results. Sexy San Fernando says, yes, charge them. All right. Should the parents seen fighting outside the Cedars Secondary School be charged? Yes or no?
I wonder how they're feeling this morning.
I know says,
how you know. Probably ain't feeling no how. Probably saying that she lucky I ain't chop she. I must see the mindset.
Anna says, yes, teachers and MTS guards have a huge task on their hands.
So should the parents seen fighting outside the Cedars Secondary School be charged? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's absolutely toll-free. People on our streaming platforms, you can vote via sending a message via your messaging portals on the respective platforms. And of course, if you're watching us on M&E TV or listening to us on smart devices in your car or wherever else, you can WhatsApp us. Of course, pull to the side if you're doing that in a car, or let the passenger do it. 318-1021. 318-1021.
Anne-Marie in Enterprise says yes. Lorna, morning Lorna. Indy Kali, yes. Helen Press. Okay, we just want yes or no's, please.
Should the parents seen fighting outside the Cedars Secondary School be charged? That's our poll before we head to the 7 a.m. news.
Which is a minute away. Right, let's see if DJ Ray says yes out in Orlando. Okay. Thank you, Roger. That's it. Cousin Mohammed says yes. Yeah. All right. Of course, continue to vote on our mobile app and on our website at power102fm.com. All right. It's exactly 7 o'clock on this, the 29th day of November. Let's get into our major news. Avison Hill Bab is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Gopio calls for Stuart Young's invitation to speak at the Diwali Nagar to be withdrawn. TTT explains reason for Diwali Nagar celebrations disruption. The Tobago October Carnival Association condemns burning of carnival trailer on the Sister Isle. Education Minister Dr. Nayan Gasby-Dolly laments behavior of parents who fought outside the Cedra Secondary School, and police have identified suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabia and are working to locate them. Details in a moment. This is news at 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintil Bab. Good morning. The Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, GOPIO, is appealing to the National Council for Indian Culture, the NCIC, to rescind its invitation to Stuart Young to speak at the closing night of the Diwali Nagar on Wednesday. In defending its call, GOPIO says Young has offended Hindu women with his recent salacious comments towards opposition leader Kamla Prasad Basasa during the budget debate and is unworthy of speaking at a religious event of the statue of the Diwali Nagar. In a letter sent to NCIC President Durup Timal yesterday, GOPIO asked that the council be a defender of Dharma, right behavior and social order, and reject Young, who it claims has shown rabbinic behavior towards all women of this country. In its letter, GOPIO said it understands that it is tradition for the NCIC to invite the sitting Prime Minister to the final night of celebration. And given that Dr. Keith Rowley is currently out of the country, Minister Young will take his place on Wednesday night. The Global Civic Society group sought to remind Timal that Young was recently condemned by the Parliament and the public for lewdly insulting the honorable leader of opposition with obscenities, disgustingly sexual innuendo, and filthy language in the nation's Parliament. GOPIO said it is awaiting a response from Timal's NCIC as it vehemently calls for the cultural group to withdraw Young's invitation. TTT Limited has explained a disruption to its live broadcast on October 28th at this year's Diwali Nagar celebrations during the address of opposition leader Kamla Prasad Basasa. It said that its ICT team began troubleshooting and identified that the internet became inactive while streaming. Further investigations identified that an autonomous automatic update occurred during the broadcast, which resulted in the connection failure. To rectify the issue, the system was rolled back to its previous operational state. This successfully restored network functionality, allowing the station to reconnect to the stream. These events occurred between 8:26 p.m. and 9:23 p.m. when the master control team re-established the live broadcast. The technical team continued work into the morning of October 27th, where a comprehensive review of their ICT systems was conducted to ensure that no such disruptions would reoccur. TTT Limited says it sincerely regrets this issue and formally communicated same to the National Council of Indian Culture. In redress for the issue, TTT says it will be posting the full uninterrupted footage from October 26, 2024 to social media pages and web pages Diwali Nagar 2024.ttt.live. The Tobago October Carnival Association describes as unfortunate an incident where a carnival band trailer truck belonging to Tobago Limers was set on fire. Details of the incident are still coming to hand. However, President of the association, Dexter Sandy, speaking with the media on Monday, said he's hoping whoever is responsible for the incident will be brought to justice.
As it is right now, I don't have details on it. It's really unfortunate that something like that would happen at Carnival. All right, but I really do hope that the authorities are able to find whoever the persons are.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Nayan Gasby-Dolly, says a video circulating on WhatsApp which shows two parents engaged in a fight outside of the Cedra Secondary School escalated from a parents' conference to deal with an issue between two students. Gansby Dolly said the principal had been advised to report the matter to the police. In the video, two females are seen fighting, one armed with a cutlass. One child can be heard begging her mother to stop, while a male adult tries to separate the two. The 41-second video ends with one woman grabbing the other's hair and while fighting for possession of the cutlass. Gansby Dolly said, quote, "It is beyond tragic that a parent conference called to deal with an issue between schoolmates can end like this. We parents must, despite the challenges, set the example for our children to follow." End quote. She said parents must find more progressive ways of dealing with issues, or else little hope will be left for our children. Police have identified suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabir and are working to locate them. Mahabir is in stable condition, showing improvement and still warded at hospital as she continues to recover from gunshot wounds to her head, hand, and torso. 30-year-old Mahabir was shot outside her Caroni home on October 22nd during a botched robbery. She had just returned to TNT from performing abroad with the TNT Police Service Band. Early reports suggest that the bandits first saw her when she stopped to buy something to eat after leaving the Piarco International Airport. A police source also indicated the bandits, having committed other robberies that night, targeted Mahabir for her car as they wanted to switch vehicles to escape possible detection by the police. They followed her home and tried to rob her, but panicked and shot her during the attempted robbery. Mahabir was parked in the driveway of her home on Hydraulic Road, Kelly Village, with a female friend at around 1:35 a.m. as she waited for the front gate of the compound to open. One of the bandits approached the woman and tried to open Mahabir's door, but it was locked. After she refused to open it, the gunman shot her through the window before getting into a waiting SUV and speeding away. Although no arrests have yet been made, officers are said to be making progress in the investigation. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. The whereabouts of Canupia businessman Suvish Ramnarine remain unknown 2 weeks after he was bundled into a black SUV by men posing as police officers. 33-year-old Ramnarine was liming at a bar on the Southern Main Road, Canupia, on October 12th when he was confronted by gunmen dressed in police gear. The men led him out of the bar and into a black Hyundai Tucson. Relatives were later contacted by men claiming to be the kidnappers, who demanded a $3 million ransom. Police could not confirm whether a ransom was paid. Contacted yesterday, ACP Kurt Simon said that the investigation is being pursued with vigor, and given the sensitivity of these types of investigations, they could not disclose any further details at this time. Investigators said there have been no fresh leads into the kidnapping, and they are conducting interviews, viewing CCTV footage, and trying to use GPS as part of their inquiries. 2 people were detained as part of the probe, but were later released pending further inquiries. The investigation is being conducted jointly by the Anti-Kidnapping Unit, Special Investigations Unit, Research and Analytical Unit, and Cybercrime Unit. Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, mostly sunny and at times breezy conditions will be interrupted by the occasional shower in a few areas. There's a low to medium chance of a heavy shower or thunderstorm during the afternoon. Nighttime will be clear with a low chance of the light shower. Gusty winds, street and flash flooding may occur in heavy showers and thunderstorms. You can expect a temperature high of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, the temperature is 29 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, Gopio calls for Stuart Young's invitation to speak at the Diwali Nagar withdrawn. TTT explains reasons for Diwali Nagar's celebrations disruption. The Tobago October Carnival Association condemns the burning of a carnival trailer in Tobago. The Education Minister laments the behavior of parents who fought outside of the Cedra Secondary School, and police have identified suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabir and are working to locate them. I'm Afril Centil Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. Of course, you'll join us again come 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Traffic-wise, where you think you're going to get traffic, you will. Northbound on the Solo, you'll pick up your traffic from Freeport this morning. I'm not seeing any major accidents that could create some more traffic. So yeah. All right. Let's see. On our morning poll again this morning, should the parents be charged in that fracas at the Cedar Secondary School? Should they be charged? Yes or no? Because we had a video playing. Let's see if we have. I know we saw some. We got Ray Ray saying yes. We got Kurt PW saying yes. Kaiser Mohammed says yes. Okay. All right. Nothing there. And I got somebody else saying yes, they should be charged. All right. Wendy Logie said they should be charged. All right. So that's the results of our morning poll. Well, that's the poll. Richard will give us the results now. Andre says yes. He just snuck in there.
Is that the last one?
Ron M says yes. All right, that's it.
All right, so our poll this morning.
GNC says yes. That's it.
All right, so our poll this morning: should the what? That wasn't the question. The question was: should the we have a glitch? We have a glitch, and I don't know if it's intentional.
It's an update. It was an update, Richard.
It's an automatic update. Sorry.
It's an automatic update. Should the parents seen fighting outside this Cedar Secondary School be charged?
Right, that's our poll this morning. We had 48 people voting on the poll this morning, and of the 48 people voting, 47 of you said yes, you think they should be charged. One person said no, they do not think they should be charged. So 48 people voting on the poll. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, throughout programming, and we'll give you the final result come Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning. We'll give you the final result of the poll. People voting throughout the day.
Yes. All right. So we do have our guest online on our stream ready. Let's say good morning going out to Risa Ramlogan Jodha. Good morning to you.
A pleasant good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Risa.
Thank you so much for being with us. Of course, you're the executive second vice president of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, OWTU, with responsibility for Tech.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't know if we could start. Good morning, Risa, formally.
That's Richard Ragoobarsingh and Dr. Paul Richards on top.
I don't know if we could start off because we keep hearing about the Tech protest on news, daily news, well, nightly news, and you're not really sure what is the genesis of what's going on with Tech. So people kind of just lump it as unions protesting for something and move on. So I don't know if you could contextualize briefly what's the issue and why it has ramped up, because I think it even got to the point of Tech administration seeking an injunction to prevent any further industrial action. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but if you could just contextualize it so that the general audience, both in Trinidad and Tobago and those listening to us from around the world, would be better apprised.
Sure. Good morning again, everyone. Good morning to the listening public, and thank you for having me this morning. So to answer your question, what has been happening in Tech? Why are workers protesting? At Tech, we have been for quite some time, and this is nothing new, I should say, to the public, because the President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, Comrade Ansel Roger, would have been out in the public space on quite a number of instances, highlighting the fact that the Tech management is failing to do what they are supposed to do. What does that mean? In Tech, we have quite a number of problems relative to the health and safety of the workforce, the non-filling of vacancies, And the non-filling of vacancies in particular is something that is very critical, because in order for the TNTech workers to be able to properly service the country, both Trinidad and the island of Tobago, we need to have a certain level of manpower to do so. And what we have been doing for quite some time, what the workers have been doing, is stretching themselves to the extent where it is starting to take a toll on their health and their well-being, because the company has been filling these vacancies with overtime rather than bringing in the additional manpower needed to be able to do the job. Apart from that, we have other instances where it's a real issue to be able to get materials to be able to go out and do the job that the members of the public are paying for. And when the public sees the TNTech workers on the outside, because they don't see the general manager, they don't see the chiefs of the organization, who they see are the persons on the ground. Oftentimes, our workers are met with, a lot of frustration and resentment because they blame those that they see. We are the image of TNTech, and our workers on the outside have to face that. Imagine you have persons paying for jobs and having to wait very, very long periods of time because we don't have the materials required to carry out the job. Yet still the money is collected and people are there sitting and waiting. So it's really quite a number of issues. And you are correct. Workers have reached a point where they are frustrated. They are frustrated because it's starting to affect not only them, but their family lives as well. And workers decided, here's what, enough is enough. We have spoken to the management at the various levels, and we are not getting any sort of recourse. So now we're left with no other choice but to let the public know what is taking place in TNTech. And on Sunday, yes, the company did file for injunctive relief from the court. And while that injunction, of course, was not granted by the industrial court. And that is so, of course, because, and I want to make this abundantly clear, the workers of TNTech have not been engaging in industrial action at this present time, because there were demonstrations again this morning. Those demonstrations were not industrial action, and the workers will continue to ensure that they don't engage in industrial action. The workers of TNTech have not been withholding their service in such a manner that affects the operations of the organization. Instead, what you are seeing is the inefficiencies and the mismanagement. Those are the things that are hindering the operations of the organization.
So, and just to be sure, the TNTech falls under the category of essential workers, so they cannot protest legally.
That is correct.
Right. I'm reading a Newsday article, and I'll just quote this Yvonne Webb wrote it, which is titled, TNTech denies OWTU's accusation of bullying workers. And the article goes on to talk about the Oilfield Workers Trade Union has accused TNTech of bullying workers into working in an unsafe environment. You identified some situations where there was a lack of material to complete jobs and workers being met in hostile manner in some instances in the public. Is there an issue that the union and workers have, or the workers and the union has, regarding the safety issues on job, in plant or outside, regarding TNTech?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, you said something there that TNTech workers cannot protest legally, and let me just correct that. Right?
They cannot have industrial action. They cannot
industrial action.
Right.
That is correct. That is correct. So they can do peaceful picketing of the employer's workplace. Okay. So we have had instances where workers on their own would have contacted the OSH agency. The OSH agency, representatives of the OSH agency came into the workplace, and some of the reports that were received were very damning reports, I must say. The OSH would have given TNTech a particular time frame by which they have to take some corrective measures to attend to some of the issues that were identified. And I can say that there are quite a number of issues that are still not yet addressed.
For example?
Now, for example, we still have vehicles that have defective hydraulic systems. And on that point, I might also say that when the members of the public see a yellow truck rolling around with a TNTech logo, what is happening now is that instead of having those hydraulic repairs effected, the company has opted to have the crews utilize the ladders that are at the back of the truck and the booms. So the trucks are just being used as a mean of transportation to get from one location to the next. And what that does is it prolongs the length of time that a job now takes. So you know what that means? It means that productivity drops. And when the reports goes out to the board and to the line minister and whoever it has to go to on a monthly basis, these the reasons for the drop in productivity, it's not being properly communicated.
But is there a safety issue involved in that? Because I asked you about safety issues.
Yes, most certainly. Well, there are safety issues because even up till yesterday at Distribution Tobago, there was an attempt to have a crew go out with a truck which had a defective hydraulic system. And workers are the ones who have to keep saying, while they comply, they say, okay, you want us to go, we would go. When they have to conduct a check of the vehicle before they leave the compound, and in conducting the check, they have been identifying to the management that these vehicles, the hydraulic system is defective. And this, if it is, I am being now asked to use a defective hydraulic system. It means that at any time I am up in the air, that boom can drop. And that could mean anything for me or the persons around me. So it is a definite safety issue. Other than that,
have those hydraulic issues also been cited in OSHA's report that you referenced?
Yes. And not only that, the certification of the booms. When OSHA came in, there were quite a number of booms that did not have certification. A simple thing as is the inspection of vehicles. The union would have spoken to the management probably sometime last year, and we made the recommendation, go to the ministry and try and make some arrangements to have licensing officers come into TNTech because of the extent of the fleet, to have the inspections done, because it cannot be that TNTech is being considered as an essential service. And yet still, what is required for us to be able to go out and service the country, we don't have those things. If we don't have vehicles that are inspected, then who is to say that the vehicles are roadworthy? You have smooth tires on vehicles.
So you're saying that the suspicion or it has been it is a fact that TNTech is operating vehicles that are out of an inspection period and don't have the current inspection certification?
That is a fact. It is indeed a fact.
But that's scary. Isn't that against the law?
It is against the law. And the sad thing about it is if licensing officers are to pick up with that on the outside, it is the driver that is going to be held responsible, not the employer.
What is the management saying about these issues? And you said earlier on that the OSH agency would have done the inspection and given a list of issues to be rectified and a time period within which they should be rectified. Can you share the time period? And does the union think or the workers think that there's progress being made by TNTech to have the issues resolved?
All right, so I'm glad that you asked that question. On Friday afternoon, the company reached out to the union, advising that they wanted to have a meeting to treat with what has been happening relative to workers coming out and voicing their concerns. The union did meet with the company on Saturday afternoon at approximately 1:30 p.m. When the management came to that meeting, it was made abundantly clear at the end of the meeting that the purpose by which they saw that meeting was just to be able to say, we checked a box, we can now move on to our injunction. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. When the management came to the meeting, they came with an allegation of industrial action. The union would have indicated that that is not the case. As far as we are aware, workers have been having demonstrations before 7 on their lunch hour and after work. That does not constitute industrial action. So if there are instances where you are claiming there has been industrial action, then let the union know. The management came prepared with no information to share with the union other than a blanket statement of industrial action. The President General would have chaired that meeting. The management made a claim that at Distribution Tobago on Friday, the field workers did not come out to work. The union said, no, that is not the report that we have. So tell us who are rostered to work, tell us who are not at work, and let us deal with this. The management said, well, we don't have that information at this time. So then, really and truly, what did you come to the meeting for? Because when the union laid the issues that are affecting the workers on the table, the issues of vehicles and manpower and the list goes on, and we said, okay, let us have a conversation. The management at that time said that they are just taking the issues. They did not come prepared to have a conversation. The union then said, well, guess what? We are giving you these. Let us meet tomorrow, which is Sunday gone, and let us have the discussions. We are even available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, any other day of the week. And to date, the commission, what they dubbed as a crisis meeting, to date, they have not responded to the union saying, union, we are ready to meet with you again. Then where is really the genuine attempt to resolve the issues of the workers? And at this point in time, that has angered the workers even more, because even the Ministry of Labor would have reached out to find out what is going on. And how can it be that you heard our cries, and how many days after, in a crisis situation, you have not sat with the union to say, okay, this is what we are going to do. This is the plan to resolve the issues of the workers. And as far as it relates to OSHA, I can't recall often the time period that was given, but what I can assure you is that that time period has since passed. And the problem we are having is that when you have these office holders being employed on a kind of contractual basis, it becomes a challenge. Indeed, it becomes a challenge, because we have seen in the past in TNTech where a representative of OSH came in to do an inspection in TNTech, and then sometime after, that person was on the employment listing of the company. So when you don't have these positions being filled with permanent people, it leads to a number of rippling effects, negative rippling effects.
You know, I'm just wondering what's the way forward beyond. Of course, you're saying it lies with the management. If I'm to read what you're saying, interpret what you're saying, it lies right now with the management in calling a meeting to take the discussions further. Did the management at that preliminary meeting, when you all met and that they called a crisis meeting, raise the issue of any challenges they were having at all in addressing some of the OSH issues? Because the OSH issues would have been raised prior. So it seems strange to me that a management committee, let's call them that generically, would have issues of OSH raised and are not attempting to treat with it in an organization like TNTech.
All right. So what I can say is, while there were some things that were attended to coming out of the report, and those may be the more, I don't want to use the word insignificant, because any issue related to HSE is a significant issue, but the easier ones would have been attended to. But what you have had the management doing, and I must say that the various levels of local management, and I'm saying local because there are 5 distribution areas in Trinidad: North, East, South, Central, and Tobago. And there is the chiefs that have responsibility for the overall responsibility for the distributions. The local management in the distribution areas, when they sit at the level of the joint safety meetings and the non-crisis meetings with the branch officers, the reports that come out of the local management is that this is beyond them. It's a procurement issue. The procurement legislation is hindering the purchasing of spares and the repairs of vehicles, the procurement of boots and safety glasses and what have you. But you know what is not surprising is that while procurement legislation seems to be affecting treating with the HSE issues in TNTech, procurement legislation is not affecting the procurement of contractors to come and do work that the regular workforce are constrained about because they can't get additional manpower resources, they can't get tools, they can't get
But the
PPE.
procurement legislation deal with labor?
Yes, it does.
In what way?
It does.
Asking a question.
And in June of last year, we would have had that conversation with TNTech. And what we had existing in TNTech prior to procurement legislation was a pre-qualification listing, where in advance, in planning for the years ahead, there were contractors who were pre-qualified. So at any point in time during any given year, you can call on this contractor to do work. And the commission would have acknowledged that with the implementation of procurement legislation that has since sent the pre-qualification.
As a service provider, it falls under that.
That is correct, as a service provider, and now they have to go through the whole OPR system. But definitely the company has found a way to work around that. So I'm not sure why, as an essential service, they can't find a way to work around getting boots for workers and getting gloves and getting what is needed for them to do what they have to do.
I don't know if it's protocol, because some may cite interference, but has an option in the past and is a potential option been talking to the line minister himself, or is that not protocol at this time?
Listen, the OWTU would have reached out to the line minister for a meeting on more than one occasion. The first time the Honorable came into office, he met with the union. We would have presented him with an agenda of the items we wanted to discuss, one of which would have obviously been the HSE concerns. He met with the union and he did advise that he could not have a meeting of substance, but he did not want to refuse the meeting. So he met because he had a cabinet meeting or something of the sort, and that he will reschedule a meeting to treat with the issues. And we are still waiting for that rescheduling of the meeting. Despite seeking a meeting with him even probably twice after that, there has been no positive response to treat with the issues of the workers at TNTech.
And what is the Ministry of Labor saying?
Well, we would be presenting the ministry reached out and they asked they said that the minister wants to get an idea of what the concerns of the workers are. That will be presented to the ministry this morning, and the union is more than amenable to a meeting with the ministry to see if the ministry can assist in resolving the issues by making an intervention.
You explained a scenario where the workers can't get the necessary basic HSE equipment that they require. And you seem to be suggesting, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Risa, you seem to be suggesting that TNTech is outsourcing the jobs via these contractors, these private contractors that TNTech workers are capable of doing, and paying for that service when you already have workers who can do that service, which would lead me to then go down the rabbit hole of why would management do that? Is it that they're thinking that they're saving money if they use a private contractor rather than possible overtime from TNTech workers? That's where my brain started to go. So what would account for that? Because if you have employees that are equipped to do X job, why would you, what they're saying is we need certain equipment that should be part of our toolkit that is not, and you are going out to private contractors to get the job done, which would be a cost. What would account for that decision of management, in your opinion? Or the union's opinion, if the union has a position?
Okay. So what I can say firstly is probably that is a question that will best be answered by the company. But in the union's opinion, this is an attempt to make, in the union's view, to make the workforce at TNTech appear to be unproductive. And it all appears to be a part of a bigger plan, right? And I'll tell you why. You are very correct. I don't have my tools. I'm not being given PPE. I have to sit in the yard. Sometimes you have people sitting in the yard for 30 days, 40 days to get a boots. I don't have the number of men that I need on my crew because you have not been filling vacancies. So then that now gives you the opportunity to say, here's what, the workload is such where we have to bring on contractors onto the system. But when the union, now clause 9 of our collective agreement, it caters for a situation where before a contractor comes on board, the company is supposed to inform the union so that the union can therefore question if indeed the work is to the extent where contractors have to come in, or if it can be managed by the in-house workforce, without informing the union beforehand, the company goes directly to the contractor. And in a belated fashion, the union is advised when the contractor is already on the system. And when the union calls the company to a meeting and say, here's what, you have the contractor on the system. Tell us the reasons why you have the contractor. What was the requirement that could not have been met by the in-house workforce that you needed to bring the contractor on board? And the company's position is, well, we don't think that that is information that the union needs to have. All the union needs to have is notice that the contractors are on the system. But the evidence is there. The evidence is there to show that you are not doing what you have to do, and you are fabricating a situation that requires contractors.
Two questions based on what you're saying there. So is a word I'm trying not to use, but it keeps coming back to my head. One, TNTech has to, the union and the workers, or the workers and the union have issues. Is it that the workers are refusing to work under certain circumstances because of the HSE issues, and so TNTech has to provide the service, and can't say, well, there's a legitimate refusal, or a refusal to work under these circumstances which are being resolved? Or is it that you're suggesting that TNTech is hiring, and I'm loath to use the word scab labor, to circumvent the issue that has come about because of the non-resolution of these issues?
All right. So it is not today that the TNTech workers have been carrying on their backs the inefficiencies of the management. It is just at a place where workers have had enough. That's one. The second thing is, the workers of TNTech are not refusing to work. They are on the job, on time, and they are ready to work. So there is no reason why the recent actions of the workers allows the management to be able to say, because of what the workforce is doing, we have to call in contractors. Contractors have been a problem.
So there's no situation that TNTech has had where the TNTech employees have not made themselves available to carry out the work.
That is totally correct. TNTech workers are on the job and are ready and willing.
Under what circumstances is TNTech hiring these contracted workers?
And that's what I'm saying. The contractors has been a problem that is plaguing us for quite some time. And it is because the company has not been filling vacancies. When you have people retiring, look at the retirements. The retirements over the years in no way matches the number of persons that came in, particularly in the field, What you have is the politicians' hand are so deep inside of TNTech that you find a lot of persons coming in clerical positions and even in other positions where they are saying to their supervisors, we didn't come here for that,
No, you've just put a component past HSE and past union and employer. You just said the politicians' hands are so deep inside of TNTech that it's affecting the situation. Is there evidence you have to support that claim?
This is what I'm saying. When you look at what is taking place in our trade school is what trains and develops a batch of men to come out to be able to continue with servicing the population. And when you have people coming into trade school and they are the ones that are making demands, they are the ones who are saying, no, you can't get us to do push-ups and you can't get us to do X, Y, and Z because you all don't know who our contacts are. That is where the problems
But anybody can say anything, But I ask you made the statement that the politicians' hands are so deep. You're suggesting that, and correct me if I'm wrong, politicians are putting people in, giving them jobs, which is not unheard of in Trinidad and Tobago, quite frankly.
It is not unheard of. And what we are saying, this is what the union is saying, we have a severe shortage of manpower, particularly in the field. What we are saying is, let us fill those vacancies. Instead of giving contractors contractors' money pockets being filled and their workers are being paid below what they are supposed to be paid. And while we would have brought this information to the company and we asked the company to do an audit of the contractors, the company has refused. Bring these workers that are already familiar with the job, conduct a certain level of training to bring them up to par and put them in the workforce rather than having to go and look and hunt and bring people and train them from the scratch. We don't have a problem with those persons that work for contractors, All we are saying is stop taking our jobs and giving it to contractors. Outfit the company with the required manpower so that we can have job security and among the workers of TNT will be threatened by job security, because that is what is happening at this point
One
in
of the
time.
issues, in addition to HSE, is there's an issue of job security in unions and the workers' minds.
Yes, most certainly. We are seeing it every day. Jobs that a job. Imagine the Electrical Act. The one position it recognizes is that of the meter reader, and the commission has been failing to fill the vacancies of meter readers in the organization. We have judgments from the court where the court would have scolded the company for the extensive use of contractors, and yet still the company was just going ahead like, okay, that was passed. Let's just move on, continue to do what we have to do.
But if the courts have made a ruling and given a judgment indicating that the company is in some way deficient in certain procedures, processes, why doesn't the union go back to the court and say the court is not fulfilling the mandates of the judgment?
We are presently before the court. There are two matters relative to contractors that are presently before the court. And it would have been identified that apparently the mantra of the company is, okay, we go to court, we get a judgment that is not in our favor. We take a judgment and we just go back and do the same thing all over again. And again, it's the same thing with the industrial court. You have persons that are holding positions that are on contract.
You know what's a little disturbing about all of this research is that TNTech has been for years held up as one of the public utilities that works with a certain level of efficiency in terms of the public's mind. That, they don't experience outages much. I'm not saying that you don't get outages, but they're very infrequent unless something is happening or something has happened, like the tree on the line when a big portion of the country went out. But generally, it's considered efficient. Generally, when our neighbors suffer in terms of hurricane issues and lines down, we dispatch crews from TNTech. So I think TNTech has a pretty good reputation, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but also in the islands where TNTech has been able to assist. So it's a little, disconcerting that you have all of these issues in an agency that I'm not saying that an agency won't have its challenges, but that it's not being met because of the reputation of the agency in delivering a certain level of service. I mean, people still complain about surges and all of those sorts of things.
Yes.
But still, there is a certain level. Yeah, go on.
And that's the thing, right? TNTech is dubbed as the best performing utility. And that has been on the backs of the workers. Because the workers, despite all of the issues that they face, they come out every day and they go out and they do what they have to do because they love what they do. They love the fact that they are able to service the country in such a way that is an essential commodity and that the entire population benefits from it. But we have come to a point where the mismanagement and the inefficiencies and the employees who have been taken advantage of for too long, it is now too much for workers, too much.
So what's next? What's next?
What's next? Well, we are hoping that what is next is that the company does what they should have done in the first place and call the union to the table for meaningful dialogue to be able to resolve the issues. We know that we can't get a truck overnight, but here's what. There is a vehicle committee that was formed for procurement of vehicles. The union has a representative on that committee. And at a meeting earlier, a couple months ago, when we asked for an update on the purchase of the vehicles, the company could not provide a response, or I didn't want to say could not, did not provide a response on what is the situation with the vehicles. We are willing to sit with the company to come up with a plan that can ensure that our members can work in a safe environment where they don't have to stress out themselves, because what we are concerned about is the sanity of our workers. You are seeing an increase in the number of workers accessing the employee assistance program. It is a real thing that is happening in TNTech. And all we want to do is to ensure that we can continue supplying the country with a reliable service. And that will take meaningful discussions with the management.
You said earlier on you have a meeting with the Minister of Labour today, or the Ministry of Labour?
No, we don't have a meeting. We are hoping that when they receive the document, that they reach out for a meeting, but we are amenable to a meeting.
Okay.
Is Mr. Curvis Francois still the general manager?
Yes, he is.
Maybe we could, on our Power Breakfast show, we could try and reach out to him to get management's view of all that you've said, Risa, and of course the union, I know, listens to the program, so they will be able to get a sense of what the manager is saying. And maybe we could ask him some of these questions, so we see if we could reach out to him to get an interview with him on our Power Breakfast show.
Thank you, Risa. I'm looking Judah for being with us. We appreciate your time and your contribution. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good result. All right. Be safe.
All right. Thank you. All the best.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Right.
Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
Sorry?
I say welcome to Trinidad and Tobago. where dialogue doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Of course, that was Risa Ramlogan Joda. She's the executive second vice president to the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, OWTU, with responsibility for T and Tech.
I have a question, Ragoobarsingh. Something that crossed my mind. How much do you think, because the union would represent petrolhead workers, they represent TNTech workers and other agencies. How much do you think the sometimes antipathy between union and state carries over between agencies? Or do you think they take each one separately?
I suppose it's human beings, so there will always be some flow over, even though I think to a large degree each agency has its separate issues. So I think you would have to confine it to that issue. But do egos cross? I'm sure. In terms of who you're dealing with and when you have to deal with that person. But maybe we could reach out to Mr. Francois to see if he'll take an interview with us. Maybe we could channel it through Marvin, the Minister of Public Utilities, and see if we could get that interview set up. It's going to be interesting to hear the management's perspective.
Well, we should, because we gave the union quite a bit of time.
Yeah, so the management should have an opportunity to respond.
Yeah, the management should have an opportunity to respond.
I'll see if I'll get Mr. Francois for tomorrow morning.
And get a sense of how they are thinking about, because that's the only way you get both sides of the story broadcast. It would be unfair to not give management an opportunity to tell their perspective on the issues.
Yeah, but the procurement legislation raised its head again, and I've been one where I felt that Parliament misstepped in procurement under $1 million should have been taken out of the purview of the OPR. That's what should have happened.
Well, my perspective is many of these agencies had 2 years to get ready. To try
it's not a matter of getting ready, Paul. It's the matter of the process slows everything down for simple things. Simple things that you could have accomplished within a week or two now drags on because you have to go into analysis. You have to inform all of the people who did not make it. You have to give certain timelines for people to respond in whether they're objecting. There's certain statutory timelines in the Procurement Act. So it's burdensome, especially for things that you're procuring that of
process.
I don't say of an insignificant value, but of a really a ridiculous value that takes up too much time. And so the correct position of Parliament in regard to the procurement legislation is that items under $1 million should have been outside of the OPR. Let it be the accounting officer, like how it always was, the PS or whoever the accounting officer is in respective agencies. But I think a lot of parliamentarians are not in the belly of the beast. So they're not understanding on a fundamental level the problems that were created by the tiptoeing through the tulip, so to speak, in terms of making the decision that, look, this is what we need to function effectively and with a certain degree of efficiency. Because the vast amount of procurement is within that range. The vast amount is within a range of under $1 million.
There's nothing stopping from the state / the government from giving the experience, because the other thing you have to consider is that you can have the best intentions with some legislation, but it's only when it gets working you realize the stumbling blocks that you're encountering and the inefficiencies sometimes and how to get around them. So that may require an amendment.
And not only that, Paul, you also have the problem that a lot of those small providers and sometimes specialized providers are not interested in getting on the OPR. Because you have to be listed. And some are not interested in being listed.
And they're not interested for specific reasons.
Well, some of the reasons is, one, they think government takes too long to pay, or government agencies take too long to pay. And another reason is that they're getting enough business outside of the government service.
And that's fine. So you move on to somebody else.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a specialized field for which there are very few people, and then you're left with one person on the OPR.
And sometimes checks and balances cause bureaucracy, and that's just a fact of life.
Yeah, so it's...
The other option is to open and everybody is corrupt, no tail.
Nobody can function.
Because people exploit sometimes those situations.
Because you have
corruption seeps in.
Because you have accounting officers. And the accounting officers are liable for those decisions. They have a financial...
It had accounting officers in several agencies where massive corruption took place.
Yeah, but a lot of the corruption is usually above $1 million, statistically.
And some of it is, I know of a situation where they literally priced $999,000 to get around the $1 million bar.
Yeah, but the vast amount of corruption historically in this country is way over $1 million.
Yeah, I agree. But that doesn't mean there's not corruption under $1 million.
So, yes, Paul, but you're spinning... Yeah, are you understanding the point I'm making?
I am understanding your point, clearly.
The point is that you have now sacrificed efficiency of a lot of agencies in terms of meeting certain bureaucratic loops that are unnecessary.
And I did say, if you were listening carefully, that based on the fact that now it has been operationalized and many agencies are complaining about these inefficiencies, that it may need to go back to Parliament for an amendment to deal with them.
Yeah. Just like we get an RFID license plate.
You're getting snarky now.
4 years now. 4 years now, yeah.
Open the phone.
Nothing moves promptly in this country.
Agreed.
Nothing. We have some calls. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
Yes, morning.
I now listening to the union officer, and one thing running through my mind: privatization. You see, a lot of government firms and like Washington and Tech want to go privatization because in the end of the day, you hire a contract when you have need of the contractor and he go home, but when you have the workers working on a permanent...
You know, very often people feel privatization, Mr. Patrick, is the answer to everything. And I'll tell you, a lot of the U.S. prison system was privatized and there are more problems than ever. Privatization does not solve everything.
No.
We know that. We know that, but
you like to feel it privatized and it's going to be more efficient automatically. No, not necessarily.
Right.
No,
okay?
Not necessarily at all.
It's about money down the road too. They don't want to pay severance. They don't want to have a permanent worker to get vocation and leave and things. So they go contract. There were a lot of people doing the contractor when they are need for the job and when they are the job. They use
a large part of the privatization thrust, when I say it plainly, is in some instances to get rid of unions.
Well, yeah.
Which is not always a good thing.
But we know that. But the government or whoever in charge do think about that. Them think about you're not employing people. They have a short staff. They run down all the trucks. They mash up the boom. This thing was happening in the Ministry of Works when I was there. They have a small labor force. And they blaming the worker when they can't get the job done. So they bring in a contractor to do the work.
Well, I also understand the position when you're working in an industry like electricity and TNTech and WASA, that you can't take safety for granted.
Yep.
Okay? Because you remember the WASA worker who went into a ditch and the safety procedures weren't in place and he died? When you're working in certain industries, do not take safety for granted. So I can't fault the workers. I can't fault the workers and the union for seeking to protect their rights where safety issues are concerned, particularly when the OSH agency went in and cited certain things that need to be rectified.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
This morning. You know something, as a person who have been employed in the government service, something with these unions. Unions always call for money, but they don't call for production from the workers. Now, you're talking about, I ain't saying that people are not supposed to be promoted, but I have been in a government system where people have been only promoted on seniority. Now listen to me. I was qualified by City and Guilds, by NEC, and I tell people I have nothing. And they promoted the people in front of me. They can't even do the job. There's no scientific approach to the work. And because of the senior, because they've been promoted, so there's no.
Can I ask you something, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
And then bring people junior to you to train them to take your work higher than you too?
Did they bring people junior to me?
For you to train, to promote them past you.
No, I never experienced that.
People experience that.
It had some people that I had when they bring, I had to train some of them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? But the issue is that people into the system who are not they don't know the work.
Well, I always take these things with a pinch of salt because there are things called performance appraisals.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing the job, it's reflected in your performance appraisal. And your performance appraisal equals promotion.
And very often the HR processes involved in performance appraisals break down.
Listen to me.
Or not proper.
Your performance appraisal indicates whether you get promoted or not.
Yes, listen to me, gentlemen. What I am saying here, I am not watch me. I have been a supervisor. Watch me. I have been there. I know what I am telling you. I working with people that I have to actually senior to me and have to do the work for them because they don't know. And the union want to if you don't promote them, it's problems. I'm not making up no stories. I am telling you what's happening. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up for this Tuesday.
Yeah, my sister sent my message concerning the election. She says it's close because she still has to overcome the fact that America has never voted a woman. So at the end of the day, America is misogynistic and racist.
But that's a question I asked this morning. And Wendell and I discussed yesterday. The gender thing, I think, is a large factor that people don't really want to talk about. That it's easier for them to even consider an inappropriate, offensive man who's a convicted felon, than a woman who has had a stellar career as a prosecutor. You understand? Nobody's perfect, but when you put them on paper together, I mean, there's no comparison. But yet, he's going to get 60, 70 million votes. You'll have a wonderful day. Be safe.
All right, have a great day, whatever you do, and remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. All right, speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Of course, Wendell will join us tomorrow morning, eve of Diwali, right here on the Power Breakfast Show. I sent a message out to, let me see if he replied to the CEO of TNTech, Mr. Francois. Okay, he has not replied as yet. Okay, all right. If you guys wondering what he's doing, don't drink so early in the morning. Let's get into 8 o'clock news brief. AV is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is time for your news update to 8 o'clock. I'm Afril Cynthia Bob. Good morning. Despite facing legal action by the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, Oilfield Workers Trade Union President General Ansel Roger says workers will not be bullied by the company and will continue protesting until their issues are addressed. This follows an ex parte application filed on Sunday by Tech in the industrial court for an interim injunction to prevent the workers from engaging in industrial action. The injunction was not granted on that day after the OWTU gave an undertaking that the workers would not engage in industrial action. The matter seeking injunctive relief was adjourned to November 11th. Executive Vice President of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union with responsibility for Tech, Risa Ram Logan Joda, told the Power Breakfast Show this morning that the management called the union to engage in talks to address the workers' issues. However, she accused the management team of simply meeting with them to check a box. She said that they accused the workers of industrial action and they were informed that the workers were using their break and lunch hours to protest, so it did not constitute industrial action. She said they then listed grievances with the workers but offered no solutions to the workers' issues. She said that the team have yet to contact the union following the meeting to have further discussions to seek to address workers' concerns. This, she said, has further angered the workers. The Minister of Education, Dr. Nian Gansby-Dolly, says a video circulating on WhatsApp that shows parents engaged in a fight outside of the Cedra Secondary School escalated from a parents' conference to deal with an issue between two students. Gansby-Dolly said the principal has been advised to report the matter to the police. In the video, two females were seen fighting, one armed with a cutlass. And police have identified suspects in the shooting of WPC Kiana Mahabir, and they're working to locate them. Mahabir is in stable condition, showing improvement and still warded at hospital as she continues to recover from gunshot wounds to her head, hand, and torso. Well, that was news on the boom to 8 o'clock, your 8 o'clock update. Look out for news, or rather on Power 102 Digital. That was your update to 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon. I'm so I am.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Up to
Legislation sets the tone for how we treat each other as a society. It provides those boundaries and the expectations, and it also upholds the rights of all of the citizens.
Legislation is important for everyone in society as it sets rules and regulations that create an organized, safe, and fair environment in which everyone is equal.
They form the opinion that because you have a disability, that you are somehow unintelligent, stupid, ridiculously asinine, you name it. So legislation is quite important, and I hope that legislation is soon coming so that people with disabilities can be who they are. People first, disabilities after.